My name's Daniel Barragan. I'm an artist, sculptor, ceramicist, and I am currently a resident at Greenwich House Pottery. I'll be here for 3 months making pottery in their studio space, interjecting myself into this community for a while. I don't have a ceramic studio outside of this, so it's allowed me to use different materials that I usually wouldn't. There's something special about being able to be in a place that thousands of people have worked in before. I think I'm a sculptor at the heart of it all, but I am a painter, and that's one of my first loves. I paint pots, and then I paint on pots also. It's all just kind of blended, which is beautiful because that's kind of what the work is about. It's about blending cultures and blending craft and ideas and concepts. Growing up on the border of Mexico as a Mexican American with cowboys and Indians, I loved that crossover. And it really has created its own culture, just like that split personality almost. There's a term, Chicano, which is Mexican American. Texas is America, but at one point, Texas was Mexico. And what do you do when the state line crosses you, right? People stayed, people left. And it became this melting pot of different cultures and attitudes and way of thinking. I'm a craftsperson. I like to do detailed, exact things. The work I make is usually process-based, either sewing or studding. I like to use adornment. I use a lot of metal studs that kind of reference punk and rock music and metal music. I'm interested in how objects tell stories. What does the material say about a history and people and region? When I started pottery a few years ago, I wanted to make traditional pottery, and I wanted it to relate to my culture and my past. All the pots that I'm making right now are traditional shapes based off of traditional Southwestern pottery. The work is really autobiographical. I'm from El Paso, Texas, which is northern Chihuahua Desert on the border of Juarez, Mexico. There's a lot of immigration and searching through the desert. My mom's side of the family were farmers, born and raised in El Paso. Just being at my grandma's house, seeing the different kitchen utensils that she has from different time periods and different clay bodies, I kind of pull references from that, as well as just seeing my uncle's garage. My uncle started working on cars. Their garage was filled with Budweiser posters, and they're always playing rock and roll. When I started making paintings, I was thinking about images and how images speak to people. And I was thinking about pictographs a lot and how even back then in ancient times, people were trying to communicate through images, especially in the desert. It was about where things could be found, like water or safety. I like the idea of time travel in a sense, and what ancestral pottery looks like now. Growing up, I was always seeing Pueblo pottery. The Automata Indians have this really round, bulbous bowl. This style of pottery is meant to hold water. Growing up, my idea of artwork was Pueblo pottery in the museum or quilts. Sure, we had Western landscapes and stuff to look at like that, but it was always an object over a 2D image. And I think that kind of did something to me where when I started making artwork and wanting to be an artist, I was kind of like, well, it doesn't have to be a painting. I could paint on a sculpture, for instance. I could make an object and then paint on it. I think that just came from wanting to inject an image with more information. I've started this project in 2019 as a response to this article that I had read about Border Patrol agents destroying water facilities in the desert for border crossers.
You get a good shot. Pick up this trash somebody left on the trail.
It's kind of like, how could someone take away humanity in a way like that? Groups of people in the border town make these facilities in the desert to help border crossers. They put flags on it so you could see it easily when you're in the desert and know that it's there for you. The larger idea for this project is a water fountain. So several vessels displayed with water in them. I envision these objects being present in the desert. There'd probably be flags on them as well to reference a point of water. Something that is more of like an installation. It's really about nurturing people in times of need. So when I'm thinking of these fountains, I'm thinking about totems or flags, things that point you in a direction towards an oasis or safety. I think a lot about familiar images that show safety or comfort in a way. Being familiar with the cultural image and then knowing that it's safe for you to be there. I like that there's something recognizable. If you are a Mexican crossing the border, you would recognize the shape of the pottery. But I also think that it's important to recognize pop culture as well, because there's a younger generation of Mexicans who associate themselves with American pop culture. I like to include the band stickers and contemporary pop culture. It seems that punk and rock culture is always at the forefront of revolution. It brings an attitude to the whole thing. I think of signaling and coding, even hobo culture and writing symbols on fence doors to like show that these people are kind and that they'll accept you for food or water, or you could depend on them for something else, you know? It's also the same for gay culture and queer coding in that sense. For instance, there's safety in the rainbow flag on the business door. Everyone's welcome to come. I like when people could look at my work and see a reference that makes them think about how they were raised. It tells a story in that way. When I'm making work about my hometown, it's kind of like a celebration of culture. It's allowing other people to think about their hometowns. We get to communicate about it together. When I was making work in El Paso, it was a lot different than what I've been doing now. There was imagery of Mesoamerican art, but I was also doing graffiti, doing tattoos and stuff like that. I didn't have to talk about the cultural concept of it because I was in it. I was kind of just experimenting within the culture already, and stepping outside of it, you need to start signaling back to the culture.